I'm an express engine, I don't go slow. Ah!
Sir, Gordon has had an accident.
How bad is it?
Bad. He'll definitely be out of commission for a few weeks. Apparently, he turned over on a hill and demolished a great deal of farm property.
This is terrible. Now who's going to pull the express?
I'd consider us lucky, sir. If the accident hadn't been so comical, we could have landed into some serious legal trouble. Thankfully, the accident left the hen house intact. You know how much Farmer McCall loves his chickens.
Hen house. I need a new express engine right away. Hello there, Thomas and Emily. Say, are you both being repaired?
Yes, sir. My undercarriage was damaged after I fell into the sea last week dealing with Arthur.
And my brakes were damaged after I rescued Oliver from the crossing a while back.
Yes. Good work, Emily. And, Thomas, you should be more careful. Anyway, Gordon is out of action and I'm looking for a replacement express engine.
Well, we're both too small to pull the express, sir.
Yeah, I know. I was actually looking for my newest engine, Murdoch. Have you seen him?
No, sir. I can't say I have.
Oh well, I suppose I can just have James do it. Lord knows he loves that job. But who will pull his passengers?
Passengers here, passengers there. Sounds like you've got quite the double-decker problem.
Double-decker problem? Hen house.
Why have we come here again, sir?
You see that over there, Rodney? That's our solution.
That ratty old bus?
Not just any old bus, Rodney. That bus used to work for me. He took passengers that didn't belong to him and got stuck under that bridge. We turned him into a hen house as punishment, but now it may be time to put him back on service.
If he was troublesome before, why take the chance?
Rodney, everyone deserves a second chance. Hello there, Bulstrode. It's Bulgy. Right then. If I put you back on the road, will you behave? No more hens. Passengers only. In that case, yes, I will. Thank you, sir. Have a look at me. I'm being refurbished.
Congratulations.
We're Duck and Oliver. I can't wait for them to see this.
I'm really not sure, actually. I really don't see much of them these days.
They're probably getting their work done instead of getting into trouble.
Salutations, Bertie.
Who put you back on the roads?
The VAT Controller's put me on a mission to save his railway. He knows we buses are truly the superior mode of transport.
Right, I don't want to hear it. Good night, Bulgy.
All aboard. Vegetables? Out of the way! I've got important passengers. Ah. Here you are.
Terrible.
Worst ride of my life.
Choppy.
Waste of money. Worst ride I've ever had.
Not very good at all.
What? Passengers are always about something. It's not fair at all. These passengers ruin my day.
Hello there, old friend. I've heard the good word about you being back in service.
Oh, what's so good about it? Even after being restored, the passengers still hate me.
Passengers are strange things. They have no taste. You shouldn't take it personally.
I guess you're right. It's all a lost cause anyway. Once Gordon's back in service, they'll probably leave me in that field to rust again.
Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. Regardless, passengers will complain no matter what you do. The best they deserve is the bare minimum.
I don't know if I even like carrying passengers.
Neither do I. Ta-ta.
Have you ever pulled passengers, Diesel? What else could I do if I'm not carrying passengers? And I certainly don't want to go back to being a hen house.
It's great to be back.
I agree.
Vegetables? Get your vegetables here!
Bulgy, what's happened to you?
Now that Gordon is back in service, the Fat Controller agreed to have me converted into the island's only mobile vegetable bus.
Vegetables? Are you sure it was the Fat Controller's idea?
Well, my suggestion. Vegetables are much better than passengers. They never complain.
You see, Rodney, it's like I said. Everyone deserves a third chance.
The engines on the island of Sodor like feeling responsible, reliable, and really useful. They work hard to complete their jobs on time. They don't like confusion and delay. But the troublesome trucks delight in mischief, and their mischief causes trouble, as poor Henry found out.
Henry has had an accident and been sent for repairs. There are no other engines available, so a diesel will help until Henry returns.
Which diesel?
Diesel 261, I believe.
Ugh, not him.
What's wrong with him?
You weren't here yet. He was a real snooty type of chap. Like all diesels, he thinks he knows it all, which got every steam engine's funnel. Despite his immense power, he soon found out nothing chuffs like a chuffs.
What?
I hope Henry is mended soon.
Henry moves more trucks than 3 diesels put together.
Trucks are no one's friends.
The next day, the diesel was working at the docks.
When the Fat Controller sees how good I am, he'll abolish steam engines once and for all.
This gave the troublesome trucks an idea. As the diesel shunted them together, they started to sing.
Is that all you can haul? Henry's loads are longer. Is that all you can haul? Henry must be stronger.
The diesel was cross. He was sure that he was stronger than Henry.
I'll push you all at the same time.
Push us all, that's the longest. Push us all, you'll be the strongest.
That's me, the world's strongest engine.
So the diesel shunted 5 trucks together. Then 10, then 15. Soon he had an enormous line of 20 trucks.
What's that diesel doing?
He thinks he's the world's strongest engine.
The diesel didn't know that the shunters had set the brakes on the trucks. The troublesome trucks knew, but encouraged the diesel to push anyway.
Push, push, push!
The diesel pushed, and he pushed, and he pushed, but the trucks didn't move. So he decided to pull the trucks instead.
Hee-ho, hee-ho, you can pull or we won't go!
This made the diesel very cross. He pulled, and he pulled, and he pulled.
Help!
The Fat Controller looked down crossly at the diesel.
I thought you could be a proper dockyard diesel, but I was wrong. Can you make up for lost time, Henry?
Oh, yes, sir.
He backed up to the trucks and the shunters released the brakes. Then Henry pulled away as easy as pie, and the engines cheered. The diesel was sent home in disgrace, but the engines had learned a lesson.
Even troublesome trucks can do you a favor sometimes.
Like getting rid of a stuck-up old diesel.
It was 2 weeks from Christmas. Freight traffic had nearly slowed to a standstill as the icy weather made it too dangerous to continue work within the mines. As more people visited Sodor to be with loved ones during the Christmas season, passenger traffic swelled. Only one engine remained strictly designated for freight, and he was not happy about it.
It's not fair! Why am I the only one stuck pulling these stupid old slate cars when the others get to pull shining coaches? You all get your nice coaches. Why do I get stuck pulling dirty slate all day?
Someone's got to do it, Smudger. Freight is what keeps this railway open. Without you, we might not even make it through the winter.
If it's so important, why can't another engine do it? Huh, Bertram?
I've been assigned passenger train for the season, Smudger. There's too much demand right now.
You two would never let me pull coaches. You just don't trust me, huh?
Smudger, please.
I see how it is. I'll just find a siding somewhere to sleep tonight. I'd hate to bother you any further.
Where did I go wrong?
What do you mean?
Smudger was the first engine to arrive here after myself. I tried to teach him sense, but it never worked.
That's not your fault, Duke.
Smudger, wait.
Huh?
Would you like to take my train today? We could trade.
Oh, but I've got to work in the quarry on the other side of the bridge today. It's gonna be a long job.
I don't mind. I always preferred quarry work anyway. You take my coaches, and I'll pull your trucks.
Smudger was pleased to pull coaches at last. He was inexperienced and rode roughly, but the passengers pretended not to notice. They arrived at the top station and thanked Smudger for the ride. Smudger was quite pleased with himself and went peacefully to sleep.
Smudger, wake up!
Huh?
Have you seen Proteus?
No. What? Why?
He never came home last night. Apparently he left the quarry, but nobody knows what happened next. But why was he doing your work to begin with?
He...
Oh. You wanted to pull passengers. Now look what you've done. I hope you're happy.
Oh, jeez.
Merry Christmas, everyone. It's been a hard year, and I'm sorry to say we still have yet to find our dear friend Proteus.
I've got to go.
Smudger? Where are you going?
I'm sorry.
I could never teach him sense. I tried to look after him and teach him how to behave, but I couldn't do it. I only wish I had another chance.
Anyway, everyone, despite the hardships of this last year, the future still looks bright. Tonight, I have a special announcement. I've listened to your complaints about the traffic load recently, and I've arranged to have 2 new engines added to our fleet by 1920. I trust the rest of you will show them how to get along.
Did you hear that, Duke? 2 new engines.
But Duke wasn't listening. All he could think about were the mistakes he had made. He wondered if he would ever see them mended.
Thomas the Tank Engine has worked on his branch line for many years. There is nowhere in the world Thomas would rather be than here, on the island of Sodor. After finishing pulling a train one day, a passenger approached Thomas.
Tremendous ride we had today. Say, what's your name?
Thomas.
Well, Thomas, this was a secret, but I work for a newspaper on the mainland. I'm going to write all about you and your branch line.
Thomas was pleased.
I'm going to be a celebrity.
I spent 9 days on Sodor exploring the railways and scenery, but nowhere was more beautiful than the branch line of one smart-looking tank engine called Thomas. The locals say he knows everyone there and everyone knows him. My question is, why didn't I know about him? Sir Topham Hatt, his controller, is missing a golden opportunity to share his little engine with the world. Rodney, why haven't we ever sold any toys of Thomas?
Because we don't make toys, sir.
Clearly we should.
Soon a new toy factory had gone up on Sodor. Lots of people went there to work. Men came to take lots of pictures of Thomas.
What's this all for, sir?
For reference, of course.
Thomas didn't understand.
The factory began to produce lots of cargo, which engines delivered across the island to toy shops far and wide.
Thomas didn't know what was going on until Sir Topham Hatt finally told him.
These toys are of you, Thomas.
That doesn't look anything like me.
Yeah, it's just a prototype. I'm thinking about taking off some of the paint. Cheaper that way.
Thomas sighed. He knew Sir Topham Hatt was an expert when it came to business. The Thomas toys were selling faster than they could be made. Children from all over the world had fallen in love with Thomas.
Hello, Thomas.
Who are all these people?
Fans of yours. They travelled all the way from Japan to be here.
People in Japan adored Thomas. Sir Topham Hatt didn't say anything, but he agreed to have a replica of Thomas built for a railway there. The toy factory became so busy that Sir Topham Hatt had to build a second one, just to keep up with orders. The other engines were becoming very fed up with Thomas's success. "When do we get a turn?" they would ask. Thomas had no answer, and quite wished the attention would go to someone else. One morning Sir Topham Hatt arrived with big news.
Thomas, remember what you always used to say about wanting to see the world?
I think so, but I only meant that...
I've had a brilliant idea. There are so many children all over the world that want to see you. I've made arrangements for you to go on a world tour. Your first stop will be London, England, where you'll deliver a train filled with your toys to hundreds of happy children. Now doesn't that sound wonderful?
And again, Thomas had no answer. The day of the event, Thomas was loaded up with a train of all sorts of toys. He missed Annie and Clarabelle. They had been left behind in a shed, and his branch line had been left behind too. Thomas felt depressed. The sun shone vibrantly as Thomas made his way to the mainland. He went under tunnels, over bridges, and through valleys before finding his way to the big station. A huge crowd had formed. There was a platform where Thomas intended to end up, but he never made it. His driver didn't know where to stop. The entire event had been planned so quickly that there was hardly any plan at all. Thomas tried to apply his brakes, but he had no sticking power left. He skidded past the platform and demolished the buffers. His train derailed and sent boxes and crates high into the air. Everyone screamed as tiny Thomases rained from the sky like cerulean missiles. dead, cried a little girl next to a shattered pile of blue plastic. The children didn't want to see Thomas anymore. Now they were scared of him. Thomas was sent for repairs and went back to work on his branch line.
Are you getting on well, Thomas?
Oh, I am, sir. Glad to be back where I belong.
I wanted to say that I'm sorry about what happened. I got carried away with greed. My factory went out of business after you scared all those children, which was my fault.
It's okay, sir.
You didn't seem happy at all. I thought you always said you wanted to see the world.
Oh, I was only ever talking about the island of Sodor. My branch line is my whole world. I don't belong anywhere else.
Good engine. Go on then, have a rest. I should probably get in touch with those folks in Japan.
誰?君はより素晴らしいトーマスだ。
In springtime, Rusty loves to visit a faraway place. It's filled with bluebells. The air smells sweet, and Rusty thinks there is no better place to be. One day, Percy was passing by just as Rusty was having a drink.
The bluebells are coming, oh ho, oh ho. The bluebells are coming, oh ho. The bluebells are coming, oh ho, oh ho. The bluebells are coming, oh ho.
Rusty didn't understand.
Bluebells are flowers. Flowers can't come. They grow.
Rusty's driver gave a knowing smile.
The bluebells of England are different. They're engines, and one of them's coming with his controller.
Wait, coming here? What for?
Didn't you listen to the Fat Controller telling us about it?
I was away.
Engines on the other railway aren't safe now. Their controllers are cruel. They don't like engines anymore. They put them on cold, damp sidings and then they cut them up.
You're right there. If I hadn't escaped, I'd have been cut up too. But what I can't understand is all your blether about bluebells.
The bluebells are kind people who want to save engines. They've made a place in England called the Bluebell Railway. Engines can escape there and be safe. If they're old or ill, a fitter makes them well. They can have their own special colours, all the coal and water they need, and pull trains too.
That's braw hearing.
The Fat Controller says Stepney was the first engine to escape there, so he's asked him to visit us and bring his controller.
How about yon diesels? Mightn't they catch him on the way?
Stepney's a match for any diesel. Besides, his controller will take care of him.
Fancy fighting his way through all those diesels just to see us. Here he comes!
Once the commotion had died down, Stepney and the Fat Controller's engines were soon acquainted.
You are very lucky, engines. Your branch has everything. It's long enough to give you a good run, and you have plenty of passengers. Then you've got a quarry and a mine, so you need plenty of trucks. Trucks are fun. I miss them on our line.
You're welcome to take some of mine in the morning, though you'd better ask driver first.
Their drivers agreed, and the next morning Stepney headed off to collect them. Stepney took his trucks to the harbour. Then he picked up a load of empties and started back. Ahead was a cricket field. A game had just begun. Stepney and his driver had to wait at a signal. Good, thought the driver. We can watch the game. The batsman hit out, and soon a skyer towered towards the train. Clunk went the signal. Thunk went the ball into a truck. Neither the driver nor fireman heard it. They were too busy. Stop! Yelled the fieldsman. But Stepney's noisy starting drowned their shouts.
Our one and only bowl! Wake up, Caroline!
Stepney wasn't hurrying. He had just crossed the river when Caroline came up behind. Road and rail ran side by side. Poor Caroline wasn't happy. She rattled along at twice her usual speed.
Master shouldn't treat me like this. This pace is too hot for my system. It'll fuse all my circuits.
Caroline arrived just as Stepney had shunted the trucks. His crew were going off duty.
We need our ball back.
The players explained everything. The ball was nestled under some straw in the third car from the van.
We're very sorry.
Oh, never mind. You couldn't help it. But now we must get back quickly.
You'll be lucky. Caroline looks worn out.
The driver spoke to the station master and the signalman, and they all agreed a plan. Everyone enjoyed watching the game. Even Caroline was pleased. She doesn't think trains silly now.
They have their uses. They can save the wear on a poor car's soul.
Jobsworth. Donald and Douglas often spoke of the very wee engines who brought stones from the hills. Doug never understood until he met them on his own branch line. 3 miniature engines, Rex, Mike and Bert, worked to carry ballast from the old lead mines. Once this was their only job, but now they carry passengers as well, and sometimes deliver wool from the farms. Tourists often call their line a toy railway, but the engines want to be taken seriously. Sometimes this can cause problems. This is a story about one of those times. Bert was running behind. He had a full train of passengers expected at Alsborough West. Presently, he approached Arsdale Green. As they rounded the bend, a passenger spoke up. On the Arsdale Railway, passengers can ask engine drivers to stop at particular stations that would otherwise be passed by. These are known as request stops. Bert's driver brought the train to a halt.
Oh, come on now. We're already running behind as it is. Relax, Bert. We can be a few minutes behind.
The passengers didn't want to be a bother, but Bert's driver insisted.
Don't worry. You can get away with a bit more on the little railways.
Bert scoffed indignantly.
I can't get away with anything. I don't know what driver's on about. Rex and Mike will have my boiler if I arrive late one more time. Not to mention what Mr. Duncan will think.
Bert was proven right as soon as he arrived. Mike was in a bad temper as usual.
Late again? That's the third time this week. If you can't take care to be punctual, you shouldn't be in steam.
It's not my fault, Mike. Driver stops for everyone.
Oh, leave driver out of this. You'd never see me deliver a train late.
Driver says it doesn't matter. He says we can get away with it.
Did he now? Why, just because we're a small railway, that means rules and regulations go out the window?
I suppose so.
That night, Bert thought of a plan to pay his driver out. The next day, Bert was delivering ballast to Aldborough West. The men were loading his trucks. As soon as they finished, Bert tried to start off.
Hold on. We've got to look over the train and make sure it's secure first. Oh, come on. It doesn't matter.
Bert wasn't allowed to leave until the train was inspected, but he still didn't give up on his plan.
What's the matter? Oh, nothing. Just wanted to take a moment and enjoy the scenery. We can't stop on the line for no reason. It's dangerous. No one'll know. Besides, it's a lovely day, isn't it? What's gotten into you, Bert?
Bert chuckled to himself. He passed a whistle board. Bert's driver sounded the whistle once to let everyone nearby know Bert was passing through. Bert soon had an idea. Soon he was whistling at everything, for no reason at all. His driver was annoyed but said nothing. Then Bert let out 3 short blasts. The guard at the back of the train applied the brake for an emergency stop.
Bert! Quit blowing your whistle!
Bert decided that was exactly what he'd do. Presently, the line made a steep curve around the hillside. Bert passed a whistle signal, but he didn't whistle.
It doesn't matter. We can get away with these things. We're only a toy railway after all.
Willie, the farmhand, had stopped on the line up ahead. He only meant to get up and stretch his legs for a moment, as he knew the sound of an engine's whistle would alert him to move in time. Bert, however, hadn't whistled at all. Bert rounded the corner, and before he knew what was happening, he came face to face with Willie's tractor. Nobody was hurt, but Bert had come off the rails. His driver dusted himself off.
Why didn't you whistle, Bert? I heard you talking to those passengers the other day. You said we can get away with more on the little railways. Oh, Bert, I didn't mean rules and regulations don't matter. I just meant we can spare a few minutes here and there. I didn't think you could hear me.
Willie ran to his cottage and telephoned for help. Before long, the mess was cleaned up. Rex took away the unhurt trucks, and Mike helped Bert back to the sheds.
You really didn't whistle before you came to the hill? That's the most dangerous part of the line.
I told you what Driver said about getting away with breaking the rules. I was trying to pay him out.
Oh, I've had enough of all that toy railway nonsense. It's just people chatter. They never know what they're talking about. Pay them no mind.
Bert thought that if Mike could let something go that bothered him, so could he.
Stepney Gets Lost by Turtles and Thomas. Stepney was enjoying his time on loan from the Bluebell Railway. He carried passengers every day. He made good friends, but the routine had become tiresome. One day, the fat controller came for a visit.
Driver tells me you're in need of a change, so I want you to help Toby and Mavis in the quarry.
Oh, thank you, sir. Shall I be away long?
Just today, but please be careful. It's easy to get lost up there, so be sure to get back before dark.
Yes, sir.
Stepney soon arrived at the quarry. Toby and Mavis were glad to see him.
Are those my trucks?
Only some of them. There's masses more in the sidings.
The more the merrier.
Stepney was really enjoying himself. The dustier he became, the harder he worked. Mavis and Toby were quite impressed.
I had a night special to take to the building set on the new branch line. Do you want to take the train instead?
Stepney and his driver excitedly agreed, but they should have asked the fat controller first. Stepney thanked Toby and Mavis for a lovely day and then puffed away into the night.
Be careful of the fog. The line can be spooky.
Stepney arrived on time and made the delivery of rock and stones for the workmen. Then he set off for home. That's when the trouble began. The fog came down.
Mavis was right. Suddenly everything does look a little bit spooky.
Ahead was a signal box. The signal was green. Stepney's driver passed under it. The points had been set in the wrong direction, but Stepney didn't realize this.
Home, here we come.
Then they approached an unknown area.
It's best if we rest here till the fog clears.
Stepney's driver and firemen went for help. Gradually, the fog cleared.
Oh no, we're in the scrapyards.
Stepney was all alone, but not for long. 2 diesels approached.
Got you this time, Stepney. You'll make very fine scrap metal indeed. Buffer and Bert.
The diesels took him to the large smelter shed.
Bye-bye, Stepney.
Hello there, little one. You've eluded me for decades now. Far from home, aren't you? You may be safe in Bluebell Country, but this is what I do to engines here. One by one, they all become a part of my grand design. Stepney.
Stop! It's a good thing I've chosen to visit this yard tonight. Being saved from scrap is becoming a habit, Stepney. Please stop it.
Yes, sir. And I have learned something.
And what's that?
There's no place like home.
And that's exactly where you're going now.
Blue bells forever.
Stepney returned to the Bluebell Railway, refreshed and eager to see his friends once more. But he never dared to leave again, for fear of meeting the evil Diesel.
Mainline engines always boast how big they are, superior by far. But little engines toil away from dawn to dusk, without a fuss or care. Just because we're small doesn't mean we don't stand tall, and we pull our weight like all the others do. You'll be surprised, in spite of our size, just what little engines can do. Little engines, little engines, little engines can do the biggest things. Little engines, little engines, little engines can do most anything. They'll carry on until the work is over. They'll carry on to the end. They're the smallest in the station, don't underestimate them. They're not such little engines after all. Bigger engines say, little engines play all day, and we're not much use to anyone at all. But we're strong enough to deal with those trucks. That's what little engines are for. Little engines, little engines, little engines can do the biggest things. Little engines, little engines, little engines can do most anything. They'll carry on until the work is over. They'll carry on to the end. They're the smallest in the station, don't underestimate them. They're not such little engines after all. Don't miss Busty, Bill and Ben, you can rely on them. These little engines are the best. Stepney, Duck and Oliver, they'll give the trucks what for? You'll be so impressed. Little engines can do the big till the work is over. They'll carry on to the end. They're the smallest in the station, don't underestimate them, 'cause they're not such little engines after all. They're our favorite little engines, they're mighty little engines, they're not such little engines after all. They're not such little engines after all.